Good morning and welcome everybody. I am Sharon Francis and I'm Business Advisor for the Minority Business Assistance Center, and we want to welcome you to our webinar today. I'm going to take the opportunity to introduce you our director, Jesse Mark, who will introduce our first speaker. Jesse?
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. Good morning, everyone. First off, I'd like to thank all of our presenters for their time today. You are definitely in for a treat. We have industry experts here to help assist you, to help guide you for what you need to do to take the right steps to grow your food business. So, I'll tell you a little bit about the Minority Business Assistance Center. We service 18 counties across the Central Ohio region, from as far north as Marion, Morrow, and Knox County, all the way through the Franklin County Metropolitan Service Area, and all the way down through Appalachia, down to Washington and Athens County, where we have a satellite office at Ohio University. We provide technical assistance, one-on-one coaching and counseling, access to capital, and obviously trainings for particular industries like we're doing today. We also assist folks with the state's bonding program. And I'm just excited to be a part of this organization and putting out the good work for all of the people that we serve, our constituents and our clients. At the end of the day, the Minority Business Assistance Center, we are a resource to resources. That's exactly what we're providing for you here today. The first presenter today is Miss Dr. Iris Cooper. She's a savant. I've known Dr. Iris since I first came to Columbus, and she pulled me under her wing immediately, and she's never steered me wrong ever since my entire time here. And I'm so thankful for the relationship that I have with her. And it's just, it's an honor again to be in the presence of an expert, to always have somebody that can provide that guidance for you, unfiltered, unadulterated, and help you make good decisions and counsel for what you do for your business or for your trajectory in your career. So without further ado, I would again like to introduce Dr. Iris Cooper from Ask Dr. I. Dr. Iris, how are you this morning?
I'm great, and thank you for that very gracious introduction. I think I've been around so long, I'm like everybody's auntie, and I take that and I receive it because that means you can trust me, and surely you can. So yes, I'm delighted to be here, and no, I'm not on the beach. I wish I was, but I'm not on the beach. It's just something that I'm thinking about doing very soon. I'm here today to support the Urban League and the Minority Business Assistance Centers. And I also want to clear up a misconception about what I do. I do not cook. Some of you may think that because I am the founder of Glory Foods and I work with food businesses, that I am an expert in the kitchen, and I'm not, never have been, never will be. What I do well is I give food people advice, objective advice, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to try to tell you how to make your sauces or your chicken wings or anything like that, because they'll be horrible. But I can give you some information from a consumer's standpoint. It's almost like you don't need someone that thinks like you giving you advice. You need someone that sees the world in a different light. And I can give you the consumer's opinion of your food products and service. So let's get started with the first slide, Ms. Sharon. I'm going to put that out there too, Women's History Month. I'm celebrating all the women that are working at the Urban League and with the state of Ohio and Miss Sharon and all the women that are involved in small business development, because this is Women's History Month. And so let's move on. Next slide. How well do you know your customer? Do you know what their favorite colors are? Do you know what time they get up in the morning? Do you know if they have children? Do they have any health concerns? I'm asking questions that you need to be asking your customer before you launch a product or service. Food is very personal. Food is like asking me how much I weigh. That's personal. But I need to know that if I'm going to be in the food business, I need this information and I need it objectively. And that doesn't, it has nothing to do with what role you play, whether you're running a restaurant or you're a caterer or you create the food products. You need honest, direct marketing research to make sure that you don't waste a lot of money and a lot of time. And before Glory Foods got started, I went around the country and talked to groups of women about food, about soul food. What does the word soul mean to you? That was important from an advertising standpoint. I wanted to make sure that the words that we used were understandable by the target customer. You should be able to close your eyes and know what that customer looks like, what time they go to bed, what do they watch on TV, what are their favorite colors. If you notice, breakfast foods are most of the time the same colors, yellow and red. Well, why is that? Because someone went out and did marketing research to find out what colors people that eat breakfast like. Nothing is by chance. It's all part of a plan to reach that target customer and know them like you would know your best friend. Next point is that you can't go into a bank, you can't go to a lawyer, you can't go to anyone who's going to work for you with assumptions, or advocate for you with assumptions, or market for you with assumptions. Assumptions, as you know, are not always accurate. And in this world, the way it's changed over the last 2 years, you definitely can't get out there with assumptions. You've got to have facts and numbers, statistics to show whomever it is that you're trying to get to invest in your business that you've got some proof that what you're doing is going to work. And it can't be filtered. You can't put your little spin on it. It needs to be accurate so that you don't waste money and you don't damage relationships. Thirdly, you must step away from any preconceived notions about your product or the market. Things change, sources change, prices change. Look at the price of gas if you don't believe in inflation. Look at the price of steak right now. A lot of people can't even afford to buy a piece of beef because of the way the market has changed. So you've got to make time and make an investment in marketing research before you jump out there with a product and expect it to sell. You've got to speak the language of your target customer. You've got to use the images that that target customer can relate to. You've got to make it affordable for that target customer. Otherwise, it's just not going to sell. And that goes for grocery stores or restaurants or caterers. You've got to be so knowledgeable about that target customer that you minimize your risk. And then don't take and don't reject something that you don't necessarily believe in or have never heard of. Be willing to accept new information and make changes. Don't let your ego get involved with your business. I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs and they do have egos, but be open enough to accept information that's documented that will help you make better decisions. Next slide. So this is a list of what kinds of information you need to collect before you invest money and time in a food product or a business, a food business. Demographics, and that includes the education of the target customer, where they come from, their family size, how old they are, gender. Here's something on gender. Have you noticed lately that if you put your name, they put pronouns behind your name to let the public know how you want to be referred to? Just because my name is Dr. I doesn't mean I would be referred to as a woman anymore. That's changed. I may be middle-aged, but maybe I don't act middle-aged. All of these things have to be documented. Health conditions, we've got all new kinds of medicines out there, particularly for Black people with high blood pressure. We've got to stay in tune to what's going on in agriculture, because that's another impact on the food business, and lifestyles. People don't live the same lifestyles like they used to. Some people cohabitate with people all in the same house, and they just rent out rooms. Things have changed, and you've got to gather that information about your target customer up front. Secondly, favorite foods, drinks, and meals. There's all kinds of new concoctions and recipes out there that people are gravitating to. So it's not just chicken wings and fries anymore. You've got to show some innovation. You got to show some creativity and flexibility. Have some variations out there for favorite meals. Religious habits. If your customer has any particular restraints or preferences because of their religion, don't ignore them. Make sure you respect the habits of your customers. Also, meal buying process. Who's at the grocery store? What grocery store do they go to? How much do they normally spend on groceries? There's carry out now. There's food delivery. All these different ways to access food. Those are different business models. The food business isn't like it was even 5 years ago. You can get food and not have anything in your refrigerator because you get on the phone and you call somebody and they bring it to you just the way you like it. Then you've got to also know how much are they spending on their food. Food is expensive now, and you can see that at the grocery stores and in restaurants. And some people can't afford to go out to eat anymore. If that's your customer, then you're going to have to make some adjustments. When and where are meals eaten? Back in the day when I was growing up, we ate at the dinner table. Everybody sat down at the same time. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. And unfortunately, that's impacted the relationship between family members. They don't talk about things the way they used to. And that's unfortunate, but it's a reality. Families don't necessarily sit down and eat meals together anymore. And so you have to package meals differently. You got to package it for one person. And you can see that in the frozen food section. There's all kinds of packaged foods for just one person. Because I'm a person that buys that. I buy for one person because I don't want to necessarily waste food. Who eats? Number 7 is who eats and what is a typical meal. There are people that only eat one meal a day. There are people that fast. And what do they eat? Maybe they're vegetarian. Maybe they only eat certain flavors or vegetables. You've got to know these kinds of details about your target customer. Are the food preferences seasonal? Now that would be still a factor to take into consideration for the price of foods. If it's in the wrong season, it can be more expensive to purchase. And so you've got to take that into consideration in your pricing. If it doesn't grow in the wintertime, you're going to have to spend more money to find it in areas that are growing this product. Finally, know that customer so well that you know what's going to be a deal breaker for them. You know the limit on how much they're going to pay for a particular item. you know that certain flavors are not going to work for them. You know that certain flavors are going to be very popular with them. If you go to Dairy Queen, you can see their flavors change based on the season. So that's another information, seasonality of food. What are the flavors that go with certain seasons? If it's Christmas time, peppermint is real popular because it's red and white. These are idiosyncrasies, but they're facts, and you need to know that about your product or your business model before you get started. And this is just a partial list of the idiosyncrasies and the tidbits of information that you need to have before you jump out there in the market. Next slide. Now, if you could click on that link, Miss Sharon, I would appreciate it. This is going to take us back a little bit to July of 2020. And this is a story about Glory Foods. And I'm just going to kind of summarize how it got started. I was brought to Columbus, Ohio, when I got my MBA to work at Lazarus department stores. And Charles Lazarus was my professor at Indiana University, and I was the only Black person and certainly the only Black woman in the class. And after classes were over and I was getting ready to graduate, he asked me, did I have a job? And I said, well, no, not really. And I didn't want to go work for a contractor or technology because that really just wasn't me. So he says, well, I'd like for you to come and see my store. So he flew me from Bloomington, Indiana, to Lazarus department stores in Columbus, Ohio, to see his store, and I fell in love with the retailing aspect of what he was doing with the mannequins and the colors. And he was a marketing genius, and he tutored me and he mentored me. And I think that's what I bring to the table today. I'm not a food person, I'm a marketing person. And my specialty is food because that's what I've been around. My dissertation is on a restaurant right here in Columbus, Ohio. I've worked with food manufacturers. And that's why the guys from Lazarus came to me and said, Iris, we need your marketing expertise to start a soul food business. Now, let me just pause there. I told you I wasn't a cook. So they came to me and they said, we want to get into greens and black-eyed peas. And I said, well, I think that's a great idea, but you're going to have to make it foolproof for me. You're going to have to create these products. So all I'd have to do when I get home from work is open up the can and put them in a saucepan and heat them, because I don't know what to put in these vegetables. My mother does, but she never taught that to me. She taught me, I want you to go to college and I want you to be in business. I don't want you in the kitchen cooking. That's what my mom said. So she never taught me soul food. But I realized that soul food was very popular and I loved it, but I didn't know how to cook it and I didn't want to spend the time to do it either. So I told my colleagues, you go back, you figure out how to pre-season these vegetables and these other food items and come back to me and I will bring you marketing research to demonstrate that pre-seasoned product like pre-seasoned greens will sell and will be very much appreciated by women my age and my background. And that's exactly how Glory was born. They went away. I went away. We got back together in about a year with the information. We had a contact at Kroger. I had a contact at Kroger and I called him. I said, I'd like to come and talk to you about an idea we have. It was just a conversation. That was the plan. I went out there with Bill Williams and I talked about our idea. And after I gave them an overview of what we saw in the future, the store decision maker. I don't know what his position was. I guess he was a manager or director. He says, yeah, I think Kroger would be interested in this product line. So yeah, we'll send you a purchase order. Well, Bill and I slowly walked out after thanking them for the time and for their support. And we sat outside the Kroger headquarters right out here in Westerville and said, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We had nothing but an idea. We had documented research to support what we were saying, but there was not a can full of greens anywhere at that time. So Kroger was in the process, but they waited a year before we could demonstrate and create what we had sold them. So we were blessed that they believed in the concept, the business model of Glory Foods, pre-seasoned soul food, because it had never been done before. So they were willing to be pioneers with us. And that's kind of how I got involved in food marketing from the Glory Foods example. And that's still what I do for businesses that are wanting to get into the food market. I provide them with information that they can rely on to make informed decisions. And I'll pause there because I know we're on a time limit and take any questions.
Yes, certainly we can use the chat if you are interested in any questions for Dr. Iris. Glad to see everybody who's here in the room today. And or if you want to unmute yourself, we can give you the ability to do that if you want to raise your hand. Iris, this is such good information, and hearing your story of how you got started. I got more detail today than I had previously, and but that is a fantastic story, especially for those who have an idea or a concept, and sometimes you don't even know how to get started. But if you're able to pitch that to someone who's willing to purchase or invest in what you're planning to do, then you're just actually demonstrating that the pitch came first and then the product.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you've got someone that's committed to, to buy it, if you develop it, then that'll give you access to resources. And we'll be hearing more about that from our next presenter, Anthony Berin, who is with ECDI. And so thank you, Dr. Iris. And okay, it looks like somebody just put in a question in the chat. It said that would you recommend trying to launch a food truck with a grocery store in their parking lot, buying their food?
A food truck that's owned by the grocery store, or is it a separate entity?
I think it would be the entrepreneur's food truck, but they would be getting their product from the grocery store, if I understand directly, and then actually they wanted to launch it there, I guess, she said, in a separate entity. So if they were parking it in their lot, but they were featuring food that they purchased from that grocery store, you think, would that be something trying to work a partnership?
Well, whether they would or not, you would have to have enough wiggle room in the pricing to be able to make some money. And with the inflation in the food market right now, everybody's just kind of on hold to see, now that we've got the mask kind of off, and we've got a little more freedom in our choices and our lifestyle. We just have to kind of be still and gather that information. Go talk to the store manager. Maybe there's another configuration that they're willing to do. If they believe that you're a competitor, it's not going to work. You're going to have to pitch it as a partnership that they can get something out of it. That's why Kroger was interested. They wanted that black dollar. And they knew that if they bought it from a Black company with soul food, they were going to get another level of commitment from that community.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. I understand that there's another question in the chat. I'm not seeing it. Okay. What would be the strategy to get into major chain stores?
You're going to have something that they don't have. They've got relationships with Del Monte and Nabisco and Coca-Cola that are like blood relatives. And so you're going to have to come out with something different. And they're not going to step on their toes, because, and check this out, when we went into Kroger with our little business, the competitors took our canned goods and smashed them. There were almost fights out in the parking lot when we came in there with the people that were stocking the shelves. And so it's not always kumbaya when you go into a grocery store. There's some competitive feelings there, and they're not always positive.
Great, thank you. That's just real talk there. Another question, how do you market to a luxury target audience?
Well, you do some marketing research for sure. And when you say luxury, you're going to have to define what that means today. The landscape about lifestyles has changed dramatically since this pandemic. The people that used to think they were well-to-do are not doing so well right now. So you've got to have new statistics on what that demographic looks like. Does that mean 2 people are working and they're well-to-do? I don't know, because we're just coming out of it, and we've got to see how we all land from this. I got to go now, but Sharon, if you want to share my email address.
Yes, I will have that. Actually, it'll be at the end of the, I'll put it in the chat for those who are on the panel, and also it'll be on the back of the presentation, because we are recording this. Thank you so much, Iris. Again, your experience has always been invaluable, and your passion for this work also, I think, is definitely inspiring. And I hope that those that are on the call today are feeling that. And so I know there were some other questions, but we will be able to field those as we move forward. But we do want to introduce our next speaker.
And thank you all. I have to go, but yes, please send me in your questions.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Jesse, Sharon.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I'm going to introduce to you Anthony Berin. He began his culinary career at the age of 14 in Cincinnati, working in restaurants all through his high school years, and eventually gained the title of executive chef at age 19. And after 16 years of restaurant experience, he found an opportunity to put his experience to more meaningful use as the incubator manager at Findlay Kitchen, where he helped other passionate food entrepreneurs start and grow their businesses. He has also worked for Taylor Farms as the National Research and Development Project Manager, and is now currently serving as the Director of Food Incubation at ECDI. So welcome, Anthony, and we are looking forward to hearing what you have to tell us about what ECDI is offering for food entrepreneurs.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm excited to be here and tell everyone about what we have going on and how we can support and help food entrepreneurs here in Central Ohio. So, as Sharon said, I'm with ECDI, so Economic and Community Development Institute. And I'm the Director of Food Incubation Services. So I'll dig into ECDI a little bit, and we'll talk about what Food Incubation Services means and some of the resources we have available and how we help food entrepreneurs. So we assist a great range of small businesses, from retail operations to manufacturing to food to construction, and we offer a variety of small business resources and, more importantly, an access to capital. So we are what's considered a CDFI, or Community Development Financial Institution. We offer small business support centers, which I'll dig into a little bit here, shortly. And just this year in 2022, we were named the largest SBA intermediary microlender in the US. That's a mouthful, but what that means is we lend funds from the SBA directly to small businesses, and more importantly, directly to small businesses who have difficulty with traditional lenders. We're also a one-stop shop for entrepreneurial resources, so training, coaching, mentorship, and of course, access to capital. Our mission: investing in people to create measurable and enduring social and economic change. So that's what we're here to do. And just a quick little note about our founder. So Ina Kinney, she's a former refugee from the former Soviet Union, came here with her family, and her father was an entrepreneur himself and struggled to open a variety of small businesses before finding some success. And after seeing that struggle, Ina decided that it was kind of her life mission to eliminate barriers and help small business owners overcome the struggle and find success. And ECDI was launched in 2004 to help achieve that goal. So we have locations in Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, Portsmouth, Ohio, servicing Appalachia, and field offices in Toledo, Akron, and Canton. So we are a statewide organization and offering our services in not only all those markets, but surrounding areas as well. And they allow us to work across the whole state. So lending, we offer access to capital for entrepreneurs who are underserved by traditional lenders. So whether that means credit scores are too low or cash being brought to the table is just not enough. But for this group here, food entrepreneurs, that has traditionally been a difficult industry for traditional lenders to make loans to. There's a lot of uncertainty, and so we've often found difficulty with traditional lenders. And then we call it BIC, Business Incubation and Innovation Centers, provide the full wraparound services. So whether you need assistance determining the viability of your idea, writing your business plan, creating financial pro formas, working through marketing or communications, we offer all those services in-house. And if we don't have the right stuff for you, we're going to connect you to the right person. So one of our largest big programs is our Women's Business Center, which is an SBA program that was originally formed to assist in getting female entrepreneurs into the marketplace, but now assists entrepreneurs of all genders and provides a great deal of entrepreneurial support. Then, of course, our food business incubation services. So whether you're looking to open a brick and mortar restaurant, a food truck, manufactured food product, such as something like Dr. Iris was speaking of, getting your product on shelves, we're here to help from start, grow, or scale phase, capital for construction, and social enterprise. So we've got a few different programs that can help you no matter which way you're looking to go. A lot of businesses can fall into social enterprise category, whether you're a construction company or you're starting a food business. Just a little more about our entrepreneurial services. So, and specifically the Women's Business Center. So as folks come in for loan assistance, generally you become a member of the WBC, and they will help you tighten up your loan application and business plan, focus your business a little bit, and better set you up for the SBA application process. So offerings include one-on-one business coaching. Our PAN, Professional Advisory Network, entrepreneurship training and education. So we have a variety of courses, either individual or cohort based. Of course, we do have some co-working space in the Columbus area, and we're working on more in our other markets. And then tons of weekly, monthly, free virtual classes. So, you know, sometimes it's accounting, legal, marketing. You kind of have a menu of classes to choose from based on your needs. And then digging into food business incubation services. So food business incubation, like I said, is a little bit of a mouthful, but we're here to provide kind of a one-stop shop for food entrepreneurs. Like I said, whether it's business plan or understanding the next phase. So growth is kind of right out of the startup phase and scaling. So moving into something like getting into a select number of Kroger stores, right? That is a scale phase. So you need to exponentially increase your production and your sales capabilities, your marketing capabilities. We're here to help. We offer commercial production facilities, both incubator and accelerator, retail food business commissaries, so kitchen space to operate your business out of. That eliminates kind of that capital investment in the beginning before you're ready to get into your own space, and production and manufacturing facilities. So later in the presentation, you'll see a picture of our newest bottling line. So some co-packing opportunity here. And then of course, access to loan capital. So that's supported with financial literacy and loan preparedness training. We pride ourselves on being a responsible lender there, meaning if you're not fully ready to take on that capital, we are going to work with you to get you ready, get you that capital, and see you into success. More specifically, so food business incubation services, as we all know, food businesses have very specific needs outside of, you know, other industries. And a lot of that has to do with licensing and regulation. But then our operations are also very different. Managing inventory is very different, right? Because we often have perishable inventories that require very careful control and can't just sit on a shelf. So we offer, again, one-on-one business coaching with industry knowledge, peer mentoring network. So finding someone who's gone through what you're going through right now, pairing you up and being able to coach you through some of the hurdles and barriers. Extensive work in the licensing and regulation area, right? We want to make sure that everyone is set up for success so that when you're starting to get the ball rolling and you're seeing some success, you don't run into a barrier around licensing or regulation. You're ready to just cruise on through. Product development, branding and marketing, sourcing, and then of course operations is huge. Streamlining operations, especially now to remove some of the costs of inflation, is huge. And the marketing piece is very big, and I know Dr. Iris touched on it, and she's certainly far more of an expert than I am. I'm not a marketing expert, but I do understand the value, and I do know that sometimes you got to get out there and ask for help. And I think that's where organizations like ours and others out there, the MBAC, come into play. You want to be in a room with other entrepreneurs, not just in food, but other industries, because you're going to be able to learn so many things from them. And it may seem strange, well, I'm a food business, why would I go to a tech startup conference or something like that, right? Because there's so much to learn from entrepreneurs in other industries, and make those connections that will help your business find success. So ways that our members utilize what we do, they utilize our facilities for a number of things: proof of concept, simply prepping and selling product, manufacturing. We offer food truck commissary at some of our facilities, And I want to point out small scale manufacturing and bottling. That's a big one, especially coming off of what Dr. Iris was speaking about. There's not a lot of resources for small scale food manufacturers. And so we are working diligently to provide those facilities and those services in Central Ohio and Ohio as a whole, to provide access to these things to food entrepreneurs, to be able to make it into markets like Kroger, or Dorothy Lane in Dayton, or Heinen's up in Cleveland. So this is a picture of our Rambling House Soda installing a 150-foot bottling line, and this is that's a lot. It's big, but it's very small scale compared to some of the larger folks. Especially if you're in Columbus and you drive by the Budweiser or the Coca-Cola bottling plants, right? Those are very large operations, and small businesses just can't utilize equipment like that. So we are working to find ways to provide access to equipment like this, so that someone who is hand producing a barbecue sauce but has the opportunity to put that sauce into stores can scale up. And so, like I said, what we do is a whole spectrum of services that is meant to just serve entrepreneurs, right? Whatever the problem is, we're here to take on that problem with you, and either provide you with expert mentorship ourselves, or connect you with the right person who's able to take you through that barrier. And not only that, but what I find very important about ECDI and our clients is our entrepreneurial community. So being in the room with other entrepreneurs, experiencing the growing pains together, it is a big benefit. There's so much to learn. We're never done. We never know everything, especially in the food world, because that is ever changing. And something that is amazing to me about food entrepreneurship is that everyone needs food. Everyone knows food to a degree. So I've always said that when it comes to food, everyone has a product to sell, right? You just got to help find the right one in the right market. Sorry, I went a little long there. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free.
Great. Thank you, Anthony. That is good information. Let's see. Okay, I'm just looking in our chat to see if we had any questions. If anybody has any that you would like to post, please put them in the chat. Someone was asking, and yes, you will be able to get a copy of the recording for this session. So typically I get them to you. I try to get them to you before the end of the day, but if not, definitely by tomorrow morning, you will have it in your inbox. Okay, and let's see. Give you all a moment. Okay, well, thank you, Anthony. And I'm sure that even at the end of the session, if there's something that you think of that you would like to pose as far as a question, we will definitely try to entertain that before we are done. But we are also very blessed to have with us today two of our MBAC clients that are in the food service business. The first one that I'm going to introduce you to is Chef Jimmy Mitchell of J. Mitchell Spices and Sauces, LLC. He is a certified MBE, native of Columbus, Ohio. He has served the community as a chef for over 30 years, and he's worked and trained under some of the best chefs in the state in fine dining and hotel industries. But he had this passion to launch his own original sauces and spices several years ago. And he had created them in his first restaurant, but then he actually started manufacturing in his home. But he has now been able to expand where he has a full-scale commercial operation and distributions to distributing, there we go, I can't talk, to major grocery store chains here in Ohio. So we are glad to have him with us today. And I'm going to introduce you right now to Chef Jimmy Mitchell. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Ms. Francis, for the introduction. And yeah, I'm just so blessed just to be here, to be part of the program. Yeah, I just wanted, yeah, and she gave a little background, but I just want to, yeah, I started actually my business in April of 2018. So we're going on 4 years of business. I'm a chef by heart. I love cooking, and I love cooking for people. I love the excitement of just making people smile with my food. And so, you know, this is one of the areas that I've always loved. You know, we have a line of cooks in our family. And so being a part of this program is awesome, you know, and I love to share my experience with others, you know, just to help other, you know, entrepreneurs, you know, see that, you know, it's possible, it's doable, but you got to put in the work. And so that's one of the key things about starting up a business is, you know, you got to put in the work. You know, I share with people that you can't always depend on others to help you fulfill your vision, because that's your vision and you're responsible for your vision. You can't blame other people for your vision not being successful, but you got to put in the work. And so some of the keys to building, I found out, and I just want to share some keys. One is have confidence in your product. You cannot have a successful product if you're not confident in it. You got to push that product like never before. I mean, you got to have the confidence in that product where to the point where there's nothing better than it. Okay. I started out in our restaurant with one product. It was a sauce, and everybody started loving the sauce, you know, and start getting a lot of demands for it. And even, you know, on the side, even after the restaurant, you know, can you give me a bottle of this? Why don't you start bottling this? And I'm like, okay, that might be just a phase, you know, and this is the sauce, my woo sauce. And I'm like, okay, maybe a phase. But after my restaurant, after, you know, I left the restaurant, years after, I mean, I kept getting people to ask about this sauce. They kept asking about this sauce. So I said, okay. And so one day a friend was over, and I cooked breakfast with him for him, and he had some of the woo sauce. He said, you know, go ahead and bottle this right now. And so I said, okay. So I got tired of hearing it. And then I started making excuses. And so that's one of the things that will keep us from fulfilling our dreams and our goals in business, is making excuses, what I don't have, what I don't know, da, da, da. And so he said, no, you need to do it now. And so I said, okay. So that day I went on Amazon looking up for the bottles and containers, because that's one of my excuses. And so to fast forward, you know, I ended up I started out my business with $350. I started with $350. And so I was learning as I was going. I had no concept of starting a business, even though I had my own restaurant, but this was something different. So I, you know, just put that together. And so, you know, the woohoo sauce was born, to fast forward it. And so I got that bottle. That's the first product that was bottled. And so I got that. And so the next product was my spices. And so I always wanted certain spices, because one thing about it, if you know food, it got to be about the spices. I mean, that spices is a part of food, period. I don't care what culture you in. And so I'm a spice guy, and I always love spices. And I'm what they call a creative cook. And I love creative cooking. And so I love different spices. And so I have a special palette for certain spices that I couldn't find, you know, at other places. So, you know, mixing different spices. And so fast forwarding, that's where I started the spice blend, which is on the right, as you see in the photo. I started that. I put that together, and everything is my original recipes. I started out everything from scratch in my home test kitchen, and I do my own labels, all the labeling, the graphics, and everything. I've done it myself. And so basically, I'm just a one-person entrepreneur. My wife, she has a full-time job. So like I said, this is my vision. I couldn't depend on her and put that pressure on her, but she supports me every way she can, which is awesome. But I did everything. I packaged, I labeled, I did all my graphics, my labeling, everything. And so I found out, how to do all these things, but it was hard. So building a business is not easy, especially when you're a single entrepreneur. So it's not easy. And so one thing and so going fast forward, I'm trying not to, because I know I have a time limit. And so at certain points I do want to hit. So now I have on the market 6 products, which I'll be putting out on the market soon. Two new products, which is a salt-free Cajun garlic pepper and a salt-free Italian blend. And so, and again, one of the things that Dr. I was talking about is your audience. And so I know in this field that I'm in, as far as spices and sauces, one of the other audiences, those that have low sodium diets, diabetics. And so that's a market that I found out is not tapped into. So one of the things as an entrepreneur, you have to know your audience. You have to know your marketing audience and the different extensions from your business. And one thing I try to tell people is and share is by my products being multi-use, and that's the way they were designed, not just for one specific dish, but multi-use. You have to see, okay, can my product be extended not just from this place, but how can it be utilized in other areas, other branches, just like my product, I'm looking at all the types of branches that, that I could use my product in. And so that's very helpful, not just to be one dimensional, but again, I think somebody has said earlier, you got to be open to other ideas and suggestions that you may not have even thought about. So moving on, and I know, man, I'm pressed for time, but let me slow down and take my time. And the other point I wanted to make is, not only having confidence in your product, but the networking is so critical in building a business. And one of the things that I'm so grateful for is to be part of the Columbus Urban League. And I admonish any entrepreneur or entrepreneur to be to get connected with the Columbus Urban League, because they have helped me so much. I've met so many great people, such as Miss Francis for one, and another young man that I just met earlier, Brother Jesse. And so I know we're going to be connecting and others as well. But Columbus Urban League, you need to be a part of them. Do the necessary work. Yes, there's a lot of paperwork involved. There's a lot of things that you got to do, but it's well worth it. So I do want to make sure that I hammer that into you. Be connected with the Columbus Urban League. And another point, a key to building a business is have passion for what you're doing. You got to have a passion. If you don't really have a passion for what you're doing, you're going to half do it. And you're not going to fully be the true entrepreneur that you're capable of. So you got to have that passion for what you're doing. Also, remember, there's going to be no in starting a business. I've hit a lot of no's. I ran into a lot of no's, and I had to make up in my mind, I wasn't going to let the no's discourage me. Whether it's no, we don't want your product in this store. No, we can't give you financing at this time. No, I don't think. No. Don't let no discourage you. That should just fuel that passion for you. Okay. Right now, our products is in 7 stores here in Ohio. And our next goal is to go to those major chain stores. And so that's why I will be reaching out to certain individuals and, to make sure that, I'm doing everything I can. And one of the other things I do want to share as far as building keys to building your business is go through every step. Don't miss a step. Don't miss a step. If there's free classes and Columbus Urban League, they offer ECDI, they offer so many MBA, they offer so many free classes, tutorials, places where you can get information. Go through every step. Don't miss a step, because in building a successful business that I found out, if you miss a step, you're always going to have to go back. So I don't want to go back. I don't want to have to keep starting over. So that's why I'm being patient, and be patient in building, because a successful business is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen 2 or 3 years. I'm going on 4 years, and I want to make sure that I got through every step that I needed to, from the baby step all the way to now. And so now I'm blessed to be in 4 and 7 stores, and growing, and and getting calls, and so as I put in the work, I see how it's paying off. So be patient. Don't try to rush success, because sometimes you'll crash hard. Okay. The next thing is build up your social media. Build it up. I just rebranded everything. Rebranded my business name. A brand new website, updated my social medias, Instagram, liked it, Facebook. So make sure that your social media platform is built up, and be a constant face of your business. You got to be the face of your business. You got to make sure that your face is the brand, that you're letting people see, okay, who's behind this. And one thing I love doing in my business is every store that my product in, every month, I do a live demo. I do a live cooking demo. I cook right there on the spot. I have all the products laid out. It's nice layout, and allow people to get a face with the brand, with the product. And I found out that, and that was one of the things that caused my business to expand. I would go different places, and people would recognize me and say, yeah, I was at so-and-so store where you did a demo, when you was cooking. And, and people are starting to recognize you in other places. And so that's one thing that I learned. Okay, you got to be the brand, the face of your business, and allow people to see who you are, because when they know you, they're going to know your personality behind the product as well. And a lot of people, they're kind of leery on getting on, using a new product, and they really don't know who this is. And so that's why I always want to make sure that people see the face with the product, and be able to interact with the entrepreneur, with the owner of the product. And so that makes them feel even more attached to you. You build relationships, and that's one of the things. We can't hide behind the brand, but we got to be in the front of it, where people will be able to interact with you. Don't be to the point where you can't be touched, or people can't interact with you. I don't know, but and I'm serious, because I found out that it's so successful. That is so successful, because people want to be able to touch you. Oh, I know so-and-so, I know Chef Jimmy, he talked to me when, and it makes me feel good. It don't puff me up, but it makes me feel good that people that I can just be, I'm just down to earth. I'm just a down to earth person, and that people can interact with you even when you have a business. And that makes people feel good. That makes people feel important, and you want your customers to feel important. And so that's why that interaction, that personal interaction, to me is so important. And so I share that with you. Try it. If you don't think that you're that person where you need to get out of that shell, because you got to be able to interact with your customers. If you're selling a product, You got to be able to be out in front of that product and be the face of that product and let people see you, see who's behind this product. And that makes them want to buy it. That makes them want to support you. And it is so fun. Okay, I'm almost done.
Well, actually, Chef Jimmy, you have been throwing out nuggets, I mean, right and left. And I'm sure that all of our entrepreneurs are relishing it and taking note of all of this. We could have given you your own webinar, sir, and we might just have to have you come back to do so.
Okay, no problem. Well, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna wrap it up with that. I'm gonna wrap it up with that. And please, if anybody wants to talk to me or pick my brain, trust me, I've got a lot to share, you know. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open it up for comments or whatever. And
Excellent. Thank you so much. And yes, we do want everyone, if you would, you can just put your questions or your comments in the chat. But I do want to move on. We do have one more that we do want to make this to make presentation, and that is Miss Fayrus Abdi of Faye's Crepes LLC. They're located in Easton Square, and we are so proud of them. Had a chance to visit their space. Faye's is an award-winning restaurant specializing in sweet and savory crepe and waffle creations. And in 2018, she, who being raised in Sweden and attending school in London, decided to jettison her career as a social worker to follow her true passion, which is food. So the birth of the restaurant was birthed out of even cravings that she had. She told me all about this. She was expecting their first child, and the food that she was craving, she could not find. So she decided to start doing it herself. So she's going to tell you more about her story. And so I'm going to introduce to you now Fayrus Abdi of Faye's Crepes. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. I wanted to talk, first of all, thank Columbus Urban League for actually having me today. It's a huge honor. I really appreciate you guys. So yes, like Sharon mentioned that I'm Faye. I'm the owner and founder of Faye's Crepes. My story actually started all the way back at Benin Mall, where my craving began when I couldn't find anything that I wanted to eat as a pregnant woman. So I created my own cafe in a Somali mall. And then we moved on to Polaris. And then right now, as you guys can see, we are currently located at Easton Mall. And then we're going to New Albany in May, of spring of the summer in May. My career was a social worker. I moved to Columbus while I was around 7 months pregnant. And I was going through a phase of, yes, I loved working in the hospital, but then I was always a foodie. I always enjoyed food. I was the one that everybody would reach out to. Where's the hottest spot to go? Where if they have visitors from other states, I would know where to take them. If you want to have a late night dinner or snack, I would know where to go. So I had a change of career. And one of the things I want to tap into later is it's okay to have a whole career and just shift to a whole nother career afterwards. So we moved to Polaris October 2019. So just before the pandemic started, we came in with a bang. We came in right after Halloween. So we had a good option of Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that good stuff. And then the pandemic happened around January. And of course, as a new person to the business, I said, that's it. You're done. You're doomed. You've only been in business for 6 months. And there's nothing, your business and everything will be shut down. Of the grace of God and everything else, we were doing amazing due to DoorDash, and we were doing amazing due to Grubhub, and we survived pandemic that way. Of course, the whole situation shifted and changed, and we had to
All right, I'm not sure what happened to Faye, but I know that she will probably be back on, and if not, we will definitely schedule a part two so that she can finish sharing her story with you all. And I do, again, just want to thank everybody for participating. All of our guests today, I do have their contact information that I'm going to put up on the screen because we do want to make sure that you all are able to connect with them. All right, let me just put that up here. There we go. Okay, Dr. Iris Cooper of Just Ask Iris. We have her email there for you. Also, Anthony Berin of ECDI. We have his email as well as the website for ECDI. And then Jimmy Mitchell of J. Mitchell Spices and Sauces. We have his email and website. And then Fayrus Abdi of Faye's Crepes. And we have our email as well as the website. And I believe that we also want to just encourage you to keep an eye out for our upcoming trainings. We are dealing with specific industries during this particular month, as well as we have a seminar on human resources that might be of help to you, as well as workers' comp, understanding workers' comp. So please keep an eye out for our weekly newsletter. And if any of you are interested in the certification, as Chef Jimmy mentioned, he is an MBE and he's obtained his certifications through working with the MBAC. We would love to help you to do so and also gain access to funding that the state does have available for those who do obtain those certifications. So feel free to reach out to us. We are here to serve you. And again, we appreciate you and look for the recording of this session and then look for part two, because we are definitely going to bring back Chef Jimmy and Fayrus and all of our panelists. Thank you again so much for spending this hour with us today. And we hope to see you next time. In the meantime, be well. Have a great day.